Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
This is the Ramble. We go until midnight tonight from New York City. Yeah, that's where we are. Okay. The last time we talked to Stephen Pearl, I'm doing my Howard Cosell. The last time we talked to Stephen Pearl, he had a tooth pulled.
That sounded like the guy like, oh no, here comes the president. Oh, what a lovely day for a motorcade. Good grief, a shot rang out. Oh, gadzooks, the president's been hit.
That was, what was his name?
Smith.
Pete Smith. Pete Smith Specialties. My, what it's a beautiful, well, he talked like, what a beautiful day for a parade. Here comes Kennedy now. Uh-oh, somebody shot him. Oh, look at the blood. My, this is not going to be a good day for Jackie.
Jumping Jehoshaphat, there's brain matter everywhere. Oh, no.
Now, he used to do these things called Pete Smith Specialties. Here comes Bozo now. He's going to try and put a nail in a piece of wood. I bet he hits his finger. Uh-oh, my, he did that. You know, I mean, he was...
It's working.
Guy worked for maybe, I don't know, he did those Pete Smith Specialties for like 20 years. There's another thing we're missing, folks. I keep talking about things lately that we don't have anymore, okay? And one of the things we don't have, oh, there's your cat. And which one is that?
That's Muddy Waters.
That's Muddy Waters. There he is. Oh, look at him. He looks like he's kind of got the soul of a blues man.
Oh, he is a blues man. He got a little soul patch right there. He's happy. He goes, everything gonna be all right this morning.
Anyway, I was talking about things that we don't have anymore, and as I'm getting older, I start thinking about these things, and I go, we don't have these anymore. Like, for instance, how many people today can get a dial tone? Remember, you pick up the phone and go, and then you dial it, and you wouldn't hear the yeah anymore.
It's busy. Try again. Someone's on the line.
Yeah, you don't get any of that anymore. Especially if you're using a cell phone. Forget it. You don't get a dial tone.
That's over. Those days are gone.
Yeah, so I miss the dial tone. I miss the simple things in life. I miss the dial tone. It's a real problem. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember when it went, and then later on it went, ooh.
Yep.
And then they didn't have it anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, everything's fine in Las Vegas. Why? Although Las Vegas.
Yeah, I got a gig coming up in April, and things are happening. And I don't know what's going on before then, but I'm just sitting on my tuchus.
Things are you when have you got one? In April?
April 8th to the 11th. Jokesters.
And now Jokesters is
just kind of sitting on my tail till.
I take it from the name. The Jokesters is a comedy club.
Hello?
Huh? It's a comedy club, right?
You guessed it. It is from like 9 to I think 9 to 10:20. Then they change it to something else. A room is this. Then they have a show there. Then they shut that down. Then there's another show there. Then there's another show there. It's starting to open up.
But they call it Jokesters while it's the comedy club, right? So when
Jokesters is Don Barnhart's room.
Don't move the phone too much because you keep breaking up. Okay. So you're doing Jokesters. How many people can they fit in Jokesters?
Doing Jokesters
safely.
About 50 now.
Really?
The way they're doing it with the COVID and everything.
And they're all
50 people.
They're all
they're there to laugh. They have good audiences there.
They're all 6 feet apart. Yeah, and they're wearing masks.
By the rules, they're wearing masks. Yes, we don't have to if we're on stage, but they're wearing masks if you watch the show. They agreed to it. They did it. I wouldn't be crazy about it, but they do it.
Now the comedian doesn't have to wear a mask because he's on stage and he's 6 feet from anybody, right?
Yeah, we're like the front row is like 1,000 feet away from the stage. It's like hello back there in the front row.
Yeah.
So now I'd like to do the disappearing grain of salt trick.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And but they're there to laugh. They want to get out of the house like the rest of us, and it's been fun so far. I'm doing some guest sets there, and I got a regular headlining gig in April.
Now the casinos aren't open, are they?
What?
The casinos aren't open.
They are, but there's hardly anybody in them.
Really? I mean, they only let so many
It's
people.
not like it was.
They only let so many people in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to the Laugh Factory tonight in the Tropicana, and that casino. There's not a lot of people in there gambling at the moment.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's terrible. That's horrible.
But the club is going.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's something I've never seen before. We're just going to try to ride it out. Hopefully, we will ride it out because if it doesn't end, I'm going on a 7-state shin kicking spree.
Do me a favor. Go move your phone.
Like some old animation from like the 60s.
Do me a favor. Move your phone somewhere else. Just go into another area of your apartment here.
Okay, let's try something else.
Okay,
let's go to the house.
Yeah. Let me see here. Let's go. We're taking a tour of his.
Let's try this.
Oh, that seems to be a good signal. Yeah, you can sit there. That's fine.
Oh, there's my cat. There was easy.
Which cat is that? But you're rumbling a lot.
I think this works.
Don't touch Don't touch the microphone.
Turn the fan off.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's fine now. That's good. Can you hear me too?
Good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So
you're moving weird. It's skipping like every other frame.
Yeah, so what do you do between now? Don't worry about what's happening on your end, just as long as it looks good on my end. Between now and April, you have nothing to do.
Nothing to do.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine moved into the complex here, so I'll just turn the corner and go to his house and smoke a lot of weed, and I'll probably keep doing that till April.
well, has he been tested for COVID?
What's that?
Has he been tested for COVID?
I don't know. Who cares anymore?
What do you mean, who cares anymore?
You've been tested for the whooping cough.
You could go over, you're sharing a joint, okay? You pass it back and forth, right?
Yeah, we pass it back and forth like we always have.
Yeah, but if he's got COVID, you're going to be a dead man. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I'm strong like bull. I have tooth pulled. Nothing bother me.
Yeah, right.
I throw both over the hedge. Nothing. I can do anything.
Yeah, that's what Rush Limbaugh said. Anyway, no, but I mean.
Rest in piss, Rush. Rest in piss.
We got to get your computer.
Rest in peace,
we got to get
ball of gas.
You can't even hear me hardly. We got to get your computer working again. We really do. The phone is like, the phone, you seem very strange with the phone. You don't feel comfortable with it. Can you hear me okay?
I'm ready. I'm holding it up with one arm. Yeah. It's not the first time I've held someone up with one arm. It's what it is. I wish I got my desktop working.
Let me ask you a question. Now, you when you moved to Vegas, you moved there with, were you your wife or your girlfriend? What was she?
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend. Okay.
Well, she counts as a legal wife. We were together for 10 years, so that counts as a common law wife, I guess.
But she came to Vegas, and
she
turned around and said, "I can't live here." Right?
Live here. You can't live here.
Yeah.
So she went back to California. She rents a room from a cat lady, and I got our cats, and I'm here with my cats. So there you go.
So how's that relationship doing? Is it still going?
We speak all the time, but I see her like once every year and a half. So I don't know what's going on with that, but we speak all the time. So I'm not seeing anybody else. I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, you're not trying to date at all, right?
20 year girls with
Wait a minute. So you're not trying to date anymore, right?
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Not at the moment.
I'm old. I come home. I go to a shop. I come home. I smoke. I play with my cats. I watch TV. I go to sleep. Rinse, repeat, lather, do all that shit. So.
Yeah. Because when I was your age, and you're about, 65, something like that? Is that it?
65.
Yeah. You can go get your shot, you know. You're going to go get your COVID shot? Maybe better.
Where do I go? I'll get it.
Well,
I'm afraid.
Go online. Oh,
Maybe you don't have a computer. Man. Put some more Jello in it.
I was going to say go online and sign up for a shot on the internet, but unfortunately, you don't have a computer that works. So anyway.
Oh, I do. I can go on the phone. I can go on Google or anything I want to go to on this phone. So I got a computer. It's the phone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I can find out where they are, and then I got to have my friend to give me a lift because when my car's on the fritz, it won't go more than a mile and a half without smoking. So I call my car Smokey the Cunt.
The only person that I talked to,
so.
the only person that I talked to doing this kind of thing, who technically has everything he needs, is Kravitz. Kravitz is just, you know, he's there, and we never have problems, you know, with the signal and whatever. But until we got to get you back online with the computer. That's what we got to do, because, you know.
I know. It's more fun to do it on the desktop. I can just sit there and.
So, what do you think? Are you following current events?
Yeah, well, I get streaming TV, so I watch the news from Chicago and Boston and New York, so I know what's going on in all these cities in San Francisco and LA. Yeah. I saw a cool motorcycle chase last night in LA. And, I know what's going on, but I don't really care anymore. We're out of Vietnam, and weed is legal. That's all I cared about.
Weed's legal in Nevada now, isn't it?
My hands like I Stephen Miller, though. I want to beat him up.
Yeah, but I mean, pot is legal in Nevada, right?
Yep.
Sounds like he's getting me by delay, I think.
He's good for you.
It's like somebody on TV doing their shot from Europe, and there's a delay, and they wait to talk to you. Can you hear me? You're hearing me okay, right?
I can find you're moving. It's like every other frame is cut out. So
wow, I see.
Like that. Yeah,
we're working at a deficit.
I can hear you fine.
We're working at a deficit today, but we only have 3 more minutes of this. So let me do an impression. No, let me see here. What else can we do?
Okay.
So, you know, sometimes your phone works just fine.
What would it be like? Frank Fontaine's an astronaut. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, but Zoom usually works okay. You know, for the most part. So
it's fucked up now.
Yeah, it certainly is. But anyway, so you don't date. So really, you just smoke pot a lot, right? Delay.
Yeah.
There's the answer.
Keeps you from going crazy.
Yeah.
I smoke pot. I drink coffee. I listen to music. I watch TV. I play with the cats. I lead a full life, but I get teeth pulled once in a while.
Yeah, but you know, if they didn't have COVID, you'd be out there doing stuff, right? You know.
Of course, I'd be out there doing stuff. I'd be working. I could have my car fixed. I could do this. I could do that. I'd be out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not out there. Nobody's out there. So
well, hold on.
It's like I with my friend Warren.
Long about April or May, maybe June, this thing is going to be kind of at bay. We won't have to worry about it as much. And your life may get back to some point of semi-normal.
I hope it goes away for good.
Huh? Yeah.
It's the same. People can't live like this.
But
people
you
can't live like this. They want to go out. They want to be with other people. They want to see shows. They want to do this and that. So.
Yeah. Well, you should get your shot. I've had my first shot. I've had my first shot. But you should get a shot.
Okay. I'll get a shot.
I'll get a
shot.
Look at this.
You want me to get the shot? I'll get the shot.
Spam risk. There we go. Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Spam.
Fuck you.
What's going on?
There we go. There goes my spam risk.
I don't even answer those.
Yeah. But
all the time.
Yeah. So anyway, what's this? Here's a headline for you. Senator Ted Cruz left for Cancun with his family as Texas was hit by a storm, sparking a fierce outcry. He was said to be planning to return on Thursday. Yeah.
Canada. We went to Texas.
You're going to be up to your ass in snow here in Texas. It's snowing in Texas. It's not snowing in Las Vegas.
People's goldfish are freezing.
Yeah, but it's not in Las Vegas. It's not.
So much for global warming.
Yeah, Las Vegas isn't having snow problems. What? Well, we just lost the audio on them. Wait a minute. We just lost audio on you. Oh, well. Steve, you're here. Let me just, you asked to unmute. Okay. He's all muted. Anyway. There you are. Now you're okay.
Hello.
You muted yourself.
Hello.
Oh boy, this is really this is a clusterfuck today. Anyway, hey, listen, the good news, we've run out of time for this technical, and too bad we didn't have a sign that says "Please stand by. We're having technical difficulties." But I'm going to make up a sign like that just for the hell of it. Yeah. Anyway, say goodbye, Stephen Pearl.
Bye, everybody. I gotta go to my friend's house and smoke more weed.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate that. Oh man, I'm glad we're on. We almost weren't on tonight. I got to tell you what happens here. It just drives me nuts. Is technical problems that suddenly hit you, like crazy, and you go, why is that happening? It just happens. Before I was supposed to, it was like what we do the show 10:30 Eastern time. It was about 9:30, I think. And I'm playing with the equipment and getting it all tweaked up and ready to go, and ready to do its thing. And working my butt off to get it to really work. And I'm testing stuff and everything. All of a sudden, all my hard drives disappear from my screen. And other things are going weird. And so, when in doubt, reboot, right? So I rebooted. If you ever have a problem with anything, whether it's your iPhone or your iPad or whatever, just reboot. It's a simple thing. So I reboot, and when I reboot, the Apple doesn't come up. The apples just won't appear. And the apple you get the tone, then the apple has to appear, and it doesn't. So now I can't figure out what. And I'm thinking, you go through, they have this bank of memories of things that have happened to you, and you got to figure them out. And I did figure it out. I unplugged all my USB stuff that was going into the machine, and I rebooted it, and the Apple comes on, and I put all the USBs back in, and I'm up and running again. But, this took me at least a half hour to figure out what the hell the problem was, okay? That's for starters, all right? And I get so tired of this stuff, I mean, it's just like the machine said, I feel I'm just going to fuck with you. It never fucks with me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? Everything's perfect at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, terrific. 10 minutes before it's supposed to go on the air, something will go wrong, And I go, how much longer do I have to deal with this sort of thing, So if I'm a little riled tonight and a little hassled, it's because I had to go through that experience tonight, and I'm sorry if I bored you with it. But I just, it's one thing after another. And I do something here. I do try to do something that's a little bit complicated. I could just go on Zoom and tell it to go and put me up on YouTube, and it just put me up on YouTube, and you wouldn't get any of the, the graphics like this stuff. You won't get this stuff. You wouldn't get that stuff. You wouldn't get any of those things. And I do it so that I have a kind of a real show. And so I do everything in a way that is causing me a lot of grief in the end, because when this machine suddenly doesn't work. But I figured out what was wrong or how to rectify it. I was just praying that when I plugged in all those USB ports again, everything will be working, and everything seems to be working fine. Now, I'm not going to say anything because I could push one button and all of a sudden we're off to the races, and I really don't want to do that. But anyway, let me see here. I got to see participants. How many are waiting to come on? Oh, quite a few. We better get. I guess we should get to them. Okay, so let me start admitting all, and you won't see anything going on. Well, you can see them coming in here. Here they are. See, there they go. We got Alan. We got Charlie Wallace. We got Phil Meyer, Dan Meyer. I'm sorry about that, Dan. And we got Alan. Oh, Alan, you got it. You had to do something with you.
I actually didn't do it. My nephew came by today. He's 15. His laptop died, and he said, "I need to talk to my girlfriend who's in Southern California. Can I use your?" Sure, no problem. And he set this thing up, and I said, "Take that down. I got a show tonight." Yeah, no problem. And so just now I turn it on. I realize, guess what? I have the Golden Gate Bridge behind me still, and I don't know how to change it. So we can rather leave it, and I can kick his ass tomorrow.
Listen, you can keep it the way it is, okay? But what you do after the show, up in the corner of your thing here, your what do you call it? Yeah, there's a little green shield. Go to the green shield, and then it goes to the. Then hit the button over on the right-hand side and go to the preferences. And in the preferences, you just go to where it says, I don't know, what does it say, backgrounds or something like that. And you just go there and just click on none, okay?
Well, if I go to the green shield, which is in the top left-hand corner, it talks about the meeting number, the host, the link.
No, but it's green, and then you go over to the right. You click on the green button.
I did. Oh, look at that!
Yeah,
it brought up another screen. Now you got a background. Why can't I have a background?
You can have a background. I mean, if you want to do it, but the only thing is, the background, unless you've got a green screen, the background that they do is kind of shitty. Because put your hand up, and you'll see what happens? Move your hand back and forth. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, goodbye. That's gone.
Yeah, but that's why I never used it. Now I have a green screen.
What's the background you're using now?
Oh, I'm just at my window.
Sit right next to his window.
Nobody's laughing because everybody knows.
I mean, come on, it's can't be a still picture, okay? Because look at those lights spilling.
Does this do the same thing? No.
Oh, that's nice with the blurry. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. We'll leave it on blur.
You like that?
It doesn't bother me yet.
Okay.
I just found it.
Yeah.
But now I know how to, there's, on Zoom, there's only like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And if I was going to have something good, it would be pictures of my next door neighbor's, 18-year-old daughter in the nude.
Yeah.
I lied. She's 19. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But anyhow,
say that could be criminal or something there. I don't know.
Not in California. 18's legal age, but in any case.
You've done your research.
Now my nephew sends me a text right now. I didn't text him, but he was reading my mind. Sorry, Uncle Al. I forgot to change the wallpaper back. Duh,
Wasn't that nice of him? Okay.
This doesn't actually bother me as long as the other stuff is there.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
There's a little change I got to make here on me. I'm too pink, I think. I don't know.
You're very red.
I'm red.
You are red.
I wonder why
I would call it red, not pink.
Huh?
I guess it's pink. We could debate that.
Maybe you got some sunburn.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, right. Because he's been in the sun so much.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll fix that tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I don't have to fix it today.
Just do what you said you were doing earlier. Just pull out one of the USB cables and see if that works.
Well, I could turn things down a little bit here. Could turn the lights down a little bit.
In that thing that you just had settings on, it had some lighting things in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Am I less pink now?
Yeah, you're less pink. You look good. You look fine.
You look fine. Okay.
You look fine.
I guess. I don't know. I give up.
There's somebody about ready to jump off the building behind you, but other than that, don't worry about it. It's your neighbor.
Where? Here?
One of your neighbors. Yeah.
Over there?
No.
Right there. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that background you got, Alex. There. That's a lot better than the Christmas one you had on last night.
Oh, people are seeing when people are trying to come in on the screen, by the way, because I'm using a different kind of screen here now. In fact, let me go to the other one again. It'll make life better for me. If I stay in sync, the problem is staying in sync, where I have another thing here where I stay in sync. Okay, let me admit these people. Tomorrow I'm going to just tweak everything again and get it all the way it should be. But I think it looks okay.
The Christmas one you had on.
Oh, I see. Yes, John Larkin is now doing his impression of Jeff.
That's right. He's got the TV on in the background or something.
No, that was the show.
That was the show.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Smoke another joint, Dan. I know.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Everybody looks pink. Yeah.
Me too.
Even well, a little less pink, But anyway, let me see here. So we've got that going. Okay, let me see here. Everything seems to be a little better now. I don't want to be too. Let me see if my regular camera. Do I look pink? I look pink there too. Yeah, I don't look any more pink than I normally look. But you know what happened is because of the green screen and because I decided that when I had too wide a shot, it was just kind of not personal enough. What was that?
Yeah. Somebody got a call.
You got a call?
John did.
Well, answer it for Christ's sake. As long as we went through this trouble, go answer it. Anyway.
Put it on speaker.
Huh?
Put it on speakerphone.
Put it on speakerphone, right? Anyway, so where was I? So anyway, I had nothing but problems today getting the show on. I mean, everything just, for years it was hard enough getting women to go down on me, but I have a computer that does it all the time. So, it's a pain in the ass.
Not supposed to be.
Well, you know what I hate? I hate the fact that my art, if you're a painter, the only technology you have between you and the canvas is a paintbrush, and you do your painting. Okay? Now, what can go wrong? I mean, maybe you can spill your paints or something like that, but what can go wrong? Here, there are miles and miles of cables and technology and whatever just for me to be able to do what I do. And I wish it were as simple as, being a painter and having a brush and putting it on a canvas.
And many different points where things can go wrong.
Oh, and dozens and dozens. I mean, what went wrong tonight is not what went wrong the day before or the day before that, And if all of a sudden, last night I'm watching television and there's no internet. And all of a sudden it went out for 5 seconds, something like that. And then I come in here and I have to reboot everything that's associated with the internet. But what I'm saying is I just don't like the idea that I have to, fuck it.
Where's Robert to take notes?
Enough of my complaining. Yeah, Robert would enjoy this.
Yes, because the first 10 minutes of the show starts out with you rather complaining about your problems or your computer's problems.
Yeah, but and I like doing the technology. I mean, I like it, but I want it to work. I don't want it to suddenly break on me, and then I have to begin with. The worst part is when it happens an hour before the show is going to go on the air.
Sure.
And that's always when it happens. Either that or it happens, believe it or not, at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I got to spend the next 2 hours trying to fix it. And if I can't fix it, I can't go to sleep until I've got it fixed, because it'll keep going in my head. Like, if I do this, will it do that? Will it do this? Will it do that? And it's a pain in the ass.
Fortunately, you probably don't have a car, right?
What? No.
Car. You do have a car?
No,
you don't.
I don't have a car. No.
Oh, you're lucky, because a car, usually when you got a hot date or you got to be somewhere that's very, very important, like to go get your COVID shot, you go out and the battery's dead, or you have a flat fucking tire.
Well, I mean, I've had a car, and I know what you're talking about. But I had AAA. That was it. I just called them and they came
don't
over.
always. I have AAA. They don't always get there in time.
Really? They used to get there in the old days. They used to get there in seconds.
That's because their computers were working. Who knows?
Yeah. But you know something? I got to tell you, our whole lives are being fucked by the technology. Now, and by the way, folks, this isn't some old fart saying, "Oh, the technology, I can't." I'm a guy who helped invent part of this technology, and who tested out this technology, and who was a big technology nerd. And I begin to think that maybe I created a sin.
And then transistors came out.
Yes, and then transistors came out. No, but I mean, I was doing all of this, early on, before anybody else did it. The first podcast ever was mine. That's how much I was into technology. So I'm not a Luddite, but I'm slowly becoming one, because I see the evils of the technology. In a lot of ways, the Unabomber was right. If you ever read his manifesto, he was saying exactly what I'm saying right now, that the technology may turn into a horrible thing for all of us. And I think that it's if technology were so great, why do I have to stand in line for 2 hours to get a COVID shot? They should have it all figured out. Why should I be getting a notification yesterday that that I didn't get my COVID shot when I should have, because they wouldn't schedule me for when I should have gotten my COVID shot, and because one database doesn't talk to another database, I'm sitting there wondering what the fuck they're sending me.
We're lucky. All of it. We're all lucky.
Yeah.
That 2 weeks passed and you're somewhat protected from COVID. I have not seen you hold up a thermometer in a while.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it because I don't do it on the air.
Right. Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
We all have our little Piccadilly things that we do, right?
Peccadillos, not Piccadilly.
Piccadillos. There you go.
Piccadilly is a roundabout in England, in London. Called,
I don't know.
Anyway,
Piccadilly Circus.
No, yeah, exactly. So I don't want to be. I don't like being a Luddite, but I've become one. And there's every reason that I should be one, because, how many times you call up someplace and they can't do anything. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with the computer right now. I can't bring your name. Can you call back later?
Oh, I hate that.
When I get the computer working again. And I'm
Why don't I just drive over to your office and we have a heart-to-heart talk?
There was a time when I called you and you had a pen and a piece of paper and you wrote down on it. And
let me look up your file.
Wanted to look up my file, you went to a file cabinet and got it out and looked at it, and it was right in front of you. Now I can't get to your file because it's in the computer, our computers are down. How many times have you heard that one?
Or our computers are really slow.
Yeah. And if you don't, if you don't think...
You're a multi-billion-dollar business. Buy faster computers is what I usually say.
And if you don't think that that this whole thing hasn't brought a negative thing to our lives, it's horrible. It's just things are not better than they used to be because of the technology. They're just more confusing, more problems, and on top of that, let's talk about, and this is an interesting topic, the amount of invasiveness into our lives that this brings now. Yeah, I was hearing about how many. Any of you do a DNA test with like Ancestry.com? So
I'm going to, but I
Yeah,
haven't.
Did you do it, Dan?
I didn't do it, but I bought it as a gift for a family member.
Anybody else? Anybody else do it here?
I think if Dan done it, he would have found out that he was related to Gazinski, the Unabomber.
Yeah, no. I got Marjorie.
I wouldn't.
Marjorie said, I'm giving you a gift. I sent away to Ancestry.com for both of us. I went, okay, fine, that's cool. So we get the thing, and then I spit in it. And then I send my spit back to the Mormons, because they're who run the whole operation. Instead of spitting on them, I spit at them into the tube that they send me. Anyway, they then sent me something. Your spit wasn't good enough. Could you do it again? So I had to do it again. And then finally we get our ancestry thing back. And guess what? We're Jewish.
Wow. The second time you should have jerked off into it.
Who would have known? Okay, we're Jewish.
Yeah.
Imagine with your last name too. I mean, that took a genius. They probably had to send it to the FBI.
I'm saying to Marjorie, how much did this cost for you to find out we're Jewish?
Yeah, they're like $100.
It was like $75, $80 at that time.
Right.
And now it turns out, you know what Ancestry.com does? They sell your DNA information to the Chinese.
Yeah.
Because the Chinese are doing a DNA database of everybody on the face of the earth.
Yeah, the FBI gets a copy.
Yeah.
What?
Then they try to convert you to a Mormon.
Yeah, right.
The FBI gets a copy.
After you're dead, they convert you to a Mormon.
Well, you know something. Actually, Jews are the Mormons are very pro-Jew. Okay, because they believe the Jews are the chosen people.
Absolutely.
So
at least they're smart.
Well, they believe the Jews were in Utah anyway, didn't they?
I don't know what that was, but But then, when I was a kid, at one point I wanted to join the Boy Scouts because I thought I had a really good chance of getting molested, and I looked forward to that. And
they didn't.
And I went down to the local troop in San Anselmo, California, and I applied. And it turned out they didn't want me. Why?
I know.
It was a Mormon-run Cub Scout troop, and they didn't want a Jew.
Oh wow!
Now, and years later, I heard that they thought the Jews were the chosen people, and I, as a chosen person, wasn't chosen. You know, I mean.
Maybe the Scoutmaster.
And by the way, I got to tell all you Mormons who might be listening out there, that was a very traumatic thing for me, to be just turned down because I was Jewish. You know.
This was in the what, 1920s?
Yeah, no, shut up. This was in the 1950s, which is kind of close. Let me see. I'm letting Brian Neary in. He may have been down there for a while, and I didn't see him. There we go. Okay. Hello, Brian. So anyway, so it's always had it kind of had a profound effect on me. It bothered me because I wanted to be a Boy Scout. I wanted to join the troop. You know, learn how to rub two sticks together, get merit badges. You know, so
get laid. Get laid.
Get laid. Yeah. So all I ever belonged to was like Hopalong Cassidy's 6-Shooters Club. You know, something like that. That was my life. So I kind of learned what it was like to be Jewish in a way. You know, there was always a certain amount of anti-Semitism out there, and everybody came up with the thing that was terrible about it is everybody thought we were good with money. Do I look like I'm good with money?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
You built up your whole empire.
Yeah, I built up this whole massive financial juggernaut.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How many other rejects from the Boy Scouts can say that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I was gonna say I watched that Woody Allen thing that you were talking about. I don't really know the whole story, so I don't know what's exactly true, what's exactly not. But the thing is, one thing that comes across is that I think Mia Farrow, she's not coming across as too bright in this thing. So she's kind of laying it out.
Well, it's not that she's not bright. I don't think Woody Allen, who's a very bright man, would hang out with somebody who's particularly stupid. All right.
Yeah.
So I would probably defend that she's probably brighter than we think she is.
Well, yeah. I mean, just like not very. She's probably intelligent, but just like not very good at picking a boyfriend.
Well, I saw this interview with Woody Allen that 60 Minutes did. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
And this was done in 1992. That's how old this story is. There's nothing in the documentary that's new information.
Right.
Okay.
No, I know.
It's just retreaded information.
Except the daughter's a little older now.
Yeah,
Right,
but
she's
still
adult.
and I wish I could say she was telling the same story, but she isn't. She keeps changing it.
Yeah.
But
And the whole it's a boring film. They could tell the whole story in 15 minutes, It's like she says this, he says that, blah blah blah.
Well,
Okay.
to begin with, because I'm sure Woody Allen
Try to make a 4-part documentary.
Woody Allen probably wouldn't talk for this interview, for this thing.
No.
And he's smart to do so. He's being held out to dry. In other words, they could have gone out and gotten the 60 Minutes interview and run things from that, but they didn't. They simply had some guy sound like Woody Allen reading excerpts from the book. Okay? They wanted to use his audiobook version of it, but they wouldn't let them because
I thought that's what it was.
No,
like
turns out that was
That's what I thought.
That was a guy doing an impression of Woody Allen reading from the book.
Because it had it on the bottom. That's why I thought too.
Well, maybe it was Woody Allen, but I heard that it wasn't Woody Allen. That it was.
Sounds like Woody Allen to me. And if it was an impression of Woody Allen, then that would just be totally.
Well, anyway,
that would be
I went and I suddenly saw another documentary. Some guy turned out. It's 2.5 hours long, and it's very, very long. And what could we call it? It's just very esoteric. But he does talk about the fact that there are just a lot of misconceptions. Like they say in the documentary, they say, well, Woody Allen at that time went to see a psychiatrist about, whether he was a molester and blah, 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 blah. No, that's not why he went to the shrink. He went to the shrink because this whole thing was driving him nuts. He didn't go because of that. He didn't go because of that. And that's one big lie. There are a lot of lies in the documentary, and these are lies that the Pharaoh people have been perpetrating for years. And the lie keeps changing. Like, for instance, I just read something tonight. Supposedly the thing that Dylan claims, it's her only claim, is that he took her into a crawl space in the house, okay, and made her get down on her stomach and play with Ronan's trains, okay? And then he touched her labia and her vulva, all right? Okay,
yeah.
All right. To begin with, somebody who knows that house says that crawl space could not have a train set in it. It's so small. And in fact, Woody probably wouldn't go in there because he has claustrophobia.
Yeah.
And in the interview, he says, do you really think, with all that's been going on, that I would go up there to see my daughter and molest her when all of this is going on already? No.
Sure.
I believe Woody. And what bothers me is this is the kind of accusation that's very hard to disprove because people all of a sudden go, he's a molester? Well, a lot of them say, he fucked his daughter? No, that's not even what the accusation is. It's that he touched her. It's just...
Well,
A shame on HBO, because I really think that they should have said, we're going to take a pass on this. Because unless you can get Woody Allen to be interviewed for it, we're taking a pass on it.
And the Ronin part.
Oh,
Because he looks dead on to Woody, right?
yeah, he looks just like Woody, doesn't he?
Just like Woody. I think Bill Maher is the only person that keeps asking him every time he's on Bill Maher. He talks about Frank, ask him a question. I forget
Mia
what it is.
supposedly has said there is a possibility he's Frank's son. Okay.
Yeah.
Frank's daughter Tina says no, he couldn't be because my father had his tubes tied, but I know people have had their tubes tied and then somebody got pregnant by them.
Yeah,
So
a couple of the sperm got through
Yeah, just when you look at him, every time I see him on something, all I see is Frank.
Yeah.
Really? You think he looks like Frank Sinatra?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, look at his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, he's definitely not related.
He's not Woody. He's not Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that he was actually in where he was funny?
What? Who?
Woody Allen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh come on.
Any movies I've ever seen him, I didn't think was funny.
Oh, I think he's.
He had a run in the 70s and 80s, man.
And then forget about the comedies.
I get him confused with Pee Wee Herman in the theater masturbating.
Jeez. Okay. You're talking to me about smoking now, and I don't know what you've been smoking with.
Yeah.
Thinking that.
The whole Pee Wee Herman thing.
Herman.
I mean, who hasn't jerked off in a porn theater? Anyway.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
what else are you supposed to?
That's what I was going to say. What are porn theaters for if you can't jerk off in them?
What's the sticky floor for?
We used to go in there with a black light to make sure we weren't sitting in somebody else's seat.
Then where did you sit? There's nowhere to sit.
Then where did you
Exactly. Where are you going to go? Stand?
Yeah.
Stand in the back? Like a creep?
Jeffrey's being very quiet tonight, and I just saw him give us a judgmental.
Well, he's got his microphone off. That's one reason. Been off for 10 minutes.
Oh, let me ask you something, Jeff.
Yes.
You had your second shot, right?
I sure did.
Yeah. Did you have any side effects?
I had a Band-Aid that I had to pull out.
Oh, God, that must be really painful.
Man, that was awful.
No, but I'm saying, did you get sick at all or feel sick?
No.
Because what they say is that some people do get kind of really ill that night, and then the next day they're fine all of a sudden. Yeah. Did you?
My sister had that same result. Very bad. She was kind of sick. She spent the whole next day in bed.
Yeah, well, something. Listen, I could get like viral anal sores from it, and I would still take it, because I know I'm not going to get the COVID.
Until you have to pull the Band-Aid off your ass.
Yeah.
Isn't that where they inject it?
I think so.
Yeah. Charlie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I had my second shot yesterday. I was fine yesterday, but today I have no energy. I'm just completely listless.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say that's good, actually. That means it worked.
Yeah, but it also works if you don't have side effects. So
I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, everybody's getting their second before me. In fact,
I know. I'm sorry, Alex. We'll let's hold off getting our shot until Alex gets his. So
Shecky hasn't written me. I thought he would write me and say, "Hey, I got mine today," because he had his was.
Yeah, he posted on Facebook.
Did he? What did he say?
He said he got his shot. He forgot to take pictures or something.
Oh, see.
And then the next post said, "Don't get your second shot. It's hell."
Oh yeah, okay. Yes.
They wouldn't let us take pictures or anything. They said,
yes, Daniel.
Oh, I was gonna go back to the Woody Allen thing. So your position is that Mia Farrow just made this whole thing up?
I think Mia Farrow is a crazy bitch. Okay?
I really don't know. Is she known to be a whack job or?
Watch the interview with Woody Allen. He has stuff she sent him. Only demented people would send the kind of stuff she sent him.
Okay, so she's a little bit
loony. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he picked a bad woman to fall in love with.
Wasn't she a Charles Manson follower at one time?
No. But she did follow the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. She went with the Beatles.
Yogi, that's no problem.
She went with the Beatles to see the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Remember when they left because Brian, what's his name, died, and it was terrible. And she went with them and the story about her is that the Maharishi kept running around trying to rip off her sari, you know, which, you know, it really gives credence to that old adage that, you know, love is never having to save your sari. So, oh boy! You have to know. You have to know where. What'd you say, Jeff?
I said you've been waiting 27 years to say
Well,
that.
I've used that joke many times before as well. In fact, I don't know that I created it. You know, boy, it's a lovely night out there, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Beautiful night in New York.
It is.
Yeah. Look, there's Batman. No, but yeah.
But so you're just, I mean, she just made it all up and just out of nothing decided she's going to say this?
She went crazy when he left her for the daughter.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not saying either way, but I now watched that 60 Minutes interview like you said, so I'll check it out.
No, watch it. It because what happens is when you watch it, because if you watch the Woody thing on HBO and then you watch the interview from 1992, you're suddenly going to go, what the hell is new about this? You know, what is there that hasn't already been said time and time again?
Now, another thing I thought of is that if Mia did make it up, maybe this was as revenge for because she couldn't get him legally for Soon-Yi.
Well, what happened was she went over to his house. How this whole thing started, he went over to his apartment, okay, because they lived across the park from each other. Okay?
Yeah,
they never lived in the same place together. All right, and they were never married, but they were a couple, and they adopted Dylan. Okay, and then she had Ronan by Woody. You know, Ronan with the red hair and the glasses and the big nose. Yeah, absolutely. She came over to his place, and on a mantelpiece or someplace like that,
they're pictures.
There were these naked pictures of Soon-Yi. Now, up to that point, she didn't know anything was going on with Soon-Yi, but now she knew. It was, and so she took them. She took them with her and left, and she was just vilely mad. And from then on, I think at one point, according to Alan in the 60 Minutes interview, she said to him, "You took my daughter away from me. Now I'm going to take yours away from you."
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and it was interesting. She knew the difference between Playboy and Hustler.
What do you mean?
Because she said they weren't like Playboy; they were more risque, sort of like
they're
Hustler,
more like Hustler.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she knows the degrees in the adult magazines.
Yeah. Well, there was a big difference between Hustler. There was a big difference between Hustler and Playboy, because Playboy proved that you could sell a magazine by having nude pictures and women naked, but interspersed with great literature. And Hustler proved you didn't need the literature.
Larry Flint was one of my heroes.
You wrote for them, so you wrote great literature for Hustler, didn't you?
Yeah. And it was a good gig. I mean, I used to do okay by that.
That's one of my heroes, Larry Flint.
Yeah. Yeah, and Larry is kind of I always referred to Larry as what I call a reluctant hero. All right, who did we lose, by the way? We lost somebody here. Who was it? Or did we lose somebody? Huh.
Yeah, we had 9 at one point.
Yeah,
we had Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin.
We lost Kevin. Yeah. Hey, Kevin, if you're listening, come on, come back. What happened? Anyway, he might have had something.
I'm sorry. Are we keeping you awake, John?
Sorry, tired, sleepy.
Yeah. Anyway,
by the way, your lower molar, it's got a cavity in it.
Oh yeah, how do you know?
You had your mouth wide open a minute ago. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Let me see here. Let me go to. Let's see if I can find Kevin. Kevin Stopper. Well, there we are. Here's Kevin Stopper, and I will just write, "What happened to you?" What?
How many episodes is this Woody thing?
I think it's
Seems
4
like they
episodes.
talked about most of it already.
I know they're gonna stretch it
I
to
don't
4.
know. Well,
Holy
that's
shit!
Is it
really
4?
stretched it out.
4 episodes.
Really?
yeah, that's kind of it's already a known thing. So why are they're teasing us with next time on this show like it's
how they
already a known quantity? It's not
Well,
like,
they kept promoting it as you thought you knew the whole story, but
Yeah.
now, and I think we know the whole story. We've heard it for almost 30 years. You got to realize the Allen interview was 19 years ago. And that was after the accusations by her. I mean, I was amazed when I found out it went back that far because I thought it was maybe like 10 years or something like that. It's been 29 years.
It was before the OJ story.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many kids did had she adopted? She's like Angelina Jolie numbers, right?
Yeah, about
Well,
12 or something like that.
She collected them like they were baseball cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
I can't deal with having one kid. I don't even want to have kids of my own. Why does she want so many? Crazy.
That's a certain craziness too.
Yeah.
And Woody really didn't want any of it, But then she said, "Would you like me to adopt a child for both of us?" And so she adopted Dylan, and then he became the father of Dylan. Okay, the appointed father of Dylan. And then she had Ronan with some obviously rampant sperm from somebody else.
Why don't they ever do a DNA test to make sure who his father is?
And you know something? Woody could bring that up, but he doesn't. I think he's too much of a gentleman to do it because, above anything else, Satchel, which was his given name when he was born, Ronan, is his son. And he, I don't think, can let go of that fact. He can be mad at him. He can be alienated from him. They can be separated. They can never talk again. But still, I don't think he would want to do anything that would bring him harm in the eyes of the public.
So you think that he's his son, but not his father, Woody Allen?
I think he's his legal father.
Yeah.
But
he's not his.
But he's not his. Woody was not the sperm donor. No.
Right.
If he is, I'm really surprised.
According to the law, if your wife has a baby, that's your baby. It's assumed by the law that is your child.
Yeah. Then again, they were not married. They were not married.
So is Ronan's transsexual, right?
No, Ronan is not transsexual. He's homosexual.
But he's transvestite, though. He dresses like a woman.
No, never.
I've never heard that.
Never.
I've seen him with like lipstick on and eye makeup on and shit. I've never seen him in a dress. But...
No, that was Frank.
Frank?
Maybe he might have did something.
No, that's makeup for being on TV.
No, I seen him with women's makeup one time.
Really?
Yeah, on an interview. Yeah, I was looking at him. I go, he's wearing women's makeup. He had like eyeshade.
I've never seen that, but could be.
Well, let's not forget John's from San Francisco, where the men are men and the boys are
the men are men and women try the best they can.
That's right,
as the old saying goes. But I mean, it's you know, to have it come up at this point, you know, my heart goes out to Woody because I think he's a very talented man. I mean, we didn't think he was funny, Alan, but some of his serious works were exquisite as well.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah,
they're saying he did like one a year for 40 years.
Yeah, his output was regular. Yeah, every year.
I didn't realize he was so popular.
Yeah, well, his pictures never lost money. He brought them. He didn't spend a lot of money on them.
I'll have to look them up and stuff like that.
In fact, do you know what the most money-making picture was he ever made?
No.
Was it One Night in Paris? What was the name of that picture? The Paris picture?
I'm writing these down.
Yeah.
How about everything you ever wanted to know about sex?
No, but they made money. This one was a blockbuster.
Really?
Yeah. And it came late in his life, which is what is also interesting. You know, but he never was he never made big money. The pictures never made giant bucks, but he brought them all in at a price that the movie companies would make money out of them. There was never a movie company that lost any money on a Woody Allen.
So they would hire him again.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he's on the other side of life now. You know, he's got a few years left, and he loves making movies. And I think it's a shame that we maybe will be robbed of his abilities because he won't be able to get the funding to do pictures, and that's everything.
Because of the allegations.
Because of the allegations, yeah.
Shame on HBO.
Shame on HBO. Well, I mean, if I were sitting at HBO and I saw what they had in this video, okay, as an executive at HBO, which I would never be because, you know, who am I to be the head of HBO? But I could probably do a pretty good job of it. The fact is that I would look at this and go, well, what do you have that hasn't been said before? Oh, we have Dylan. She's older now. She remembers it better. I went, no, you know.
Why?
Why? You know, to begin with, there's a lot of people who believe that she was programmed at the time by Mia, who then was trying to poison all the kids against Woody. And at age, and by the way, Ronan has said that when he was 5, he saw this thing happen there's some things happening between Dylan and Woody.
Yeah, your mind plays a lot of games.
He was 2 years old when this was purported to happen.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, you can't.
So he too has been programmed by Mia because, you know, at that age you can program kids to believe something happened to them that didn't, and that's what she did. You know,
especially with the mother. You know, the kids maternally are just sucked in with the mother.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, and she tried to poison them all against him.
Wow.
You know, and you know, I mean, and his relationship with Sunyi. Okay, he was with a younger woman, so a lot of guys have been with a younger woman, and all the other guys give him a high five for it. You know. I mean, she was of age. She was 21, okay, but she was young.
I mean, like, would you say that was probably Mia Farrow's motivation for coming up with all the stuff with Dylan? Because
absolutely, absolutely.
This is her revenge.
Yeah, it's an absolute revenge. So you know.
Why so late? They filmed this just recently. I mean, why revenge so late still? I mean, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't. What's going on now?
Probably said, "Hey, let's go back and we, you know, I think we got a story here. You got a bunch of, you know, family, you know, footage, you know, videos and stuff. Let's make a film out of it."
Yeah.
He probably said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, but I mean, I would, if I were HBO, I would say, okay, what have you got here that hasn't been around before? You know, you're just rehashing the whole story over again. Only you don't have Woody Allen involved in it to make it really Allen v. Farrow. It's really Farrow v. Allen with a small Allen. You know, you know. So I mean, it's horrible. It's just terrible. It's terrible what they're doing to him. And I listen. If he were a child molester, I'd say come forward with the proof and let's do something about it. Let's nail the bastard. You can't let him do that. But you don't have to nail the bastard.
Let's go back to talking about toilet paper.
Yeah, let's go back to talking about toilet paper. I wonder what happened to. I wrote Kevin, and I said, "What happened to you?" Oh, he's writing back now. I think he could be he had a little problem or something like that.
Senior moment.
On Google, they have a lot of pictures of Sinatra and Pharaoh in the middle, and then Woody Allen. Three of them.
One of these things
isn't it great what Photoshop will do?
Yeah.
No,
not Photoshop.
No,
they're just individual pictures. But
I see.
You look at pictures of Frank Sinatra in the '40s, you can definitely see the resemblance.
Oh
yeah, there's one picture. He's got his eyebrow raised, and Pharaoh has that too, and you can see the mouth and nose and everything.
Yeah, but he has her lips. I think I was noticing some video of them and of her and then him and Ronan, and there is that element in there of her not being. He's not writing anything; he's just looking at it, I guess.
You were paying close attention to Ronan's lips. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, but I was just looking and trying. I mean, obviously some of them
were they kissable.
I mean, obviously he's going to look a little bit like Mia, because he came out of her pussy. If I could put it so boldly.
Her pussy, her labia.
Yeah, and he probably touched it on the way out.
Yeah.
It's just part of.
That's gross. The whole thought.
You're going on. We go on. There's this new term they've come up with now: cancel culture.
Yeah.
And
love that.
I don't like the term because it's a term that only the right wingers are using, not the left wingers.
Yeah, like they do with everything, like political correctness. We never said political correctness. They came up with that.
I don't like the idea that Woody is being accused of something he was never charged with. In fact, the authorities did look at it and decided there was no reason to go after Woody. Only one attorney, district attorney, decided maybe he would, and Mia said, "Please don't, because we don't want to have to drag Dylan through this." Well, I think she maybe did that because it was a big lie, and she just didn't want it to come to light. But they had a very well-known group of people who look into child molestation and child abuse, who looked into this whole thing and came out and said Woody Allen did not abuse his daughter. And a lot of the authorities came out and said the same thing, that we don't have any reason to believe this went on. And even one of them went as far as to say, we think that Dylan was programmed by the mother. So, I mean, there's never been a situation where they have charged him with anything. And the fact that this is 29 years old, you would have thought somebody, somewhere, would have said, okay, we're busting you for this. But they didn't. And in the meantime, his career is over. It's finished. I mean, in the interview with 60 Minutes, he said, "Well, if my career is finished tomorrow, so be it."
Yeah.
He wasn't looking upon it as something that he was worrying about.
Just because
he said that in '92.
Yeah,
he's made a lot of movies.
Yep.
He's made movies since
well,
then.
apparently that didn't stop it. For a while, I think he had some trouble getting financing. And getting people to work with him. But then all of a sudden, everybody began to think, hey, this guy didn't do anything. Yes, Alan.
So I don't follow him, obviously, because I don't know many good movies he's made. But just because he hasn't been arrested or charged does not mean that he is not guilty. And I'm sure we all know that. But, I'm looking on the internet here as we're talking, and I don't see anything incriminating, but of course, I don't know much about the guy. I know who he is, and I watched a couple of his movies, and I thought, oh boy, this is supposed to be funny. So.
Well, I thought he was always very funny.
But I
always
didn't,
enjoyed
you know, you don't need an arrest or an indictment or something like that to be guilty. You could,
and you can't base your feeling about his guilt or innocence based on whether you found him funny or not.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you know, the only reason I'm standing up for him is that, you know, come out with the proof.
Right.
You know,
I think
come
that's
out with
great.
the indictment. I mean, look, I assume Trump is innocent until they finally put his hand in cuffs and haul him off to jail. You know, which I'm hoping happens.
Tomorrow would be nice.
Yeah.
Seen MSNBC
Yesterday would be nice.
lately?
Charlie would like that. That would make Charlie's day. If suddenly you saw Trump doing the perp walk, right?
Yeah, frog walk 'em.
MSNBC is literally fucking begging for him to be busted. You know what I mean? They just every single story, you know, they go over that same story. Oh, now the DA's got his tax returns, you know, and now he's got problems down here. You know, it's like, why don't you guys just shut up until they actually fucking do it? You know?
Well, yeah, I know, and Trump's not president anymore.
And
so,
if they find him culpable and they're going to charge him with anything, let's not charge him. Let's not think of him as guilty until he is. You know,
Right.
it's important
I don't know.
that
I think I like thinking of him as guilty.
Yeah.
No, I think that everybody is allowed their day in court, and we that's the tent pole of our democracy, is that we assume innocence before guilt. In other words, a person goes to court, they have to be proven guilty. They don't even have to prove their innocence.
Do you believe that Trump molested women illegally?
He said he
Okay, so I bet everybody on the
I
show
would. Let
here
me put it
probably
this way.
does.
No.
yeah.
Well, you're asking it in a strange way. I mean, the fact is, I would like to believe that he has, but I'm not
Okay.
going to. I'm not going to accuse him of it until somebody comes forward and it is proven.
But everybody, most Democrats at least, and most other world leaders would say, yeah, he has.
Well,
He's
what you
never
think,
been
what
charged
you
with it.
think personally, and what you think publicly are two entirely different things.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
this is
when
a.
you consider about
Also,
18 women have accused him of it,
26
and he's
women.
literally admitted it.
But the presumption of innocence,
Yeah.
is a thing we hold dear in this society, and it's different from any other country because we're here. You don't have to prove a thing. You can just sit there while the other people accuse you of stuff, and then let the jury decide. Okay, or you can present your side of the story, which most people do, but you don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt. In other countries, you have to prove your innocence.
Right. Yeah.
After they have accused you of your guilt. So, that's the tent pole of our democracy. That's the thing that distinguishes us from almost any other country in the world, even those that are democratic. And so we have to hold true to that, and yes, you might think so-and-so is absolutely guilty and God, he's but you have to assume and presume innocence.
I don't have to.
Well, you say you don't have to, but as a good American, you should.
Well,
yeah,
the court of public opinion and the court of law are two different things.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I mean, I grant, yeah, sure, he's innocent because he hasn't been convicted, but in my opinion, he's guilty. But that doesn't mean anything, I mean, to him,
I'll
doesn't mean anything
change
to him.
this, John.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it
It
myself.
doesn't mean anything to him.
I'll change what you just said, John. You said that he's innocent because he hasn't been proven guilty.
Right.
I'll change that to he may be innocent because he hasn't been charged.
Right.
Charged and proven are two different things. So,
Right.
but that's okay. I got your point, John. It
Yeah.
was a valid point. It just,
But
to
to
me,
me,
in my mind, was a little.
in my
twisted.
opinion, he's guilty, which means nothing, really.
I agree with you.
Well, no,
I agree with you.
but that's you can hold anything privately you want to. I mean, there are a lot of things where you feel
This is publicly.
they're guilty. Like I've often said that privately I can think O.J. murdered his wife, all right, but publicly I can't because publicly he was found not guilty in a court of law, and so I have to presume his innocence. You know.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I don't have to in my personal life. I don't want to hang out with O.J. Simpson because I'm afraid he's going to kill me. I won't hang out with him. You know. But I have to presume his innocence because he was found not guilty. Period.
It's like an ideal. It's not what you really believe, but it's like an ideal that we strive
Okay.
to
Well, here's a situation.
presume his innocence, even if we can't.
How about those two guys that murdered the black kid? You know, what was his name? Herbert Till or Emmett Till?
Emmett
Remember
Till.
them?
Mhm.
They murdered them, and then they were tried and found not guilty. But it was obvious they were guilty.
Well,
and then about 6 months later, they do an interview with Life magazine and admitted they did it. I mean,
then you have the look. Then you have the right, absolutely, to say, okay, they did it. They admitted they did it, and treat them as though they did it.
Yeah.
But you can't deprive them of their liberty because they were found not guilty in a court of law.
Yeah.
All right.
No double jeopardy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to? Let me see here. I want to find out what happened to Kevin.
Go take a dump.
I had to answer a call and didn't want to be rude. I
toilet
wasn't
paper
too
was
interested in the
the
Woody
dispenser
deal
wrong.
anyway, so just coming back to listen for a bit to see if the subject changed, but it's late in the show now. I'll call tomorrow. If we can get some others to talk about other subjects, we will, actually.
He's tired. He's tired of Woody Allen.
Well,
too,
I agree. I wouldn't do this 2 nights in a row. Kind of missing the
You
older
did.
days of the political debating, etc. we had,
Yeah,
you know.
we were talking about it last
But it's all
night.
good. No worries, my friend. Okay, good. Thank you. I love
last
Kevin.
night I was listening and nobody had watched it. So, and I had watched it.
Right.
But I was
I tuned in yesterday, but it was so boring because I wasn't on. So
Yeah. No, but tomorrow, Kevin, if you're listening, tomorrow we'll maybe get
back
into
to toilet
politics.
paper.
Well, you know, I just what I'd like to do, what I wanted to do, is change this topics in a lot of ways because. You know, we went through so much. How many years of Trump?
Yeah. He's been living
That right now, I'm just taking a bit of a breather, as it were. You know.
Why don't you interview people on the show like you're good at?
Well, I do it. We do that with our
For
comedy
15,
friends.
20 minutes, yeah.
But anyway, if you're listening, Kevin, we love you and we want you back here tomorrow night. Jeff,
Yes.
how you feeling? You feeling okay?
No, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, when'd you get your second shot again?
On let's see, Wednesday.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh boy. Okay. Everybody's getting theirs before me. I just
Wonder why.
Now,
and then I get a note from the city saying, "Bad you didn't get yours on time."
I think he got in the front of the line and said, I want my appointment on time. By the way, I am Alex Bennett. And somebody said, oh, move him to 5.5 weeks.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff, was there a line where you went, or was it just in and out?
I actually I was there early.
Okay.
And so I walked right in,
Mhm.
and the girl says, I think you're here like a little early. And I said, yes. And I said, is that a problem? She goes, no, just gonna move you ahead, and you're the next guy.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
They were perfect. It was so nice.
Where did you do this again?
In North Haven, Connecticut, which was part of Yale.
Yeah.
They own that facility.
Yeah.
And it was just terrific.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you?
Now, did the people who gave you the shot, was it a doctor or a nurse or what?
I think it was somebody who works at Staples.
You know, I never asked.
I had a doctor.
Actually, what you can do, our governor has the ability to give shots. At least that's what he's telling the women on this group. But he gives shots. He took a course. It's a 20-minute course on how to give an vaccination.
Right.
And I guess I could go take that same course and then go down to one of these places and get paid to stick needles in people's arms. But every time I do it, I'd go,
I know. I couldn't do that. Could you give people shots for that thing? I couldn't do that.
I'll tell you, who could? Who could? It's Marjorie. Because she had to take classes on how to give herself a shot because she has allergies. So they gave her some stuff for the allergies, and she sticks it in her butt, and she gives herself shots all the time. So she's only one step away from her butt to somebody's arm. You know.
I've actually given people shots. So.
I see people giving them some shots every day on the street.
Yeah,
yeah, really.
That's for fun.
Good point, John.
I think it's terrific. I think it's nice that they've got a lot of people who are doing this, and now we've got the Johnson & Johnson, and the Pfizer, the AstraZeneca is next in line.
Still, AstraZeneca has been approved. Johnson & Johnson has not been approved yet.
Yeah.
They're talking about doing it tomorrow being Friday.
AstraZeneca hasn't been approved yet, has it?
Sure, it's being used all around the world. It's not. We're not using it here,
right.
But it was approved. It was the first one approved.
Yeah.
I went to Kaiser today to pick up some medication, and they had a long line there, but I couldn't get an appointment with them when I got my first shot, and the Levi Stadium was much younger crowd, where over at Kaiser is very much an older crowd, and there was a long line, and it went slow, but sort of felt bad that they were having to go to Kaiser, and they should have been going to Levi, and they could get an appointment like 2 days after they make the appointment. They had to wait probably a couple of weeks there. So.
Wow.
But you got to be over 65 to get a shot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or dress, or in Florida, all you have to do is dress like you're 65.
No, younger people that have got.
Oh, by the way, somebody asked me, I think it was Phil the other day, why New York has a worse situation or more people infected or whatever than Florida, and it's because, like yesterday, we did 275,000 tests. Because we do massive amounts of testing. So we get a higher number because better than Florida, you're never going to find out what the true number is.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they're faking it.
Even the deaths are probably being faked on some level.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I just looked. You know what it's time to do? There we go. Oh. There's the theme. And hey, the computer held up tonight too. That's great.
Yeah.
Boy, it went solid.
Boy, the guy you were interviewing beforehand, he needs to get something different to get on the show.
What?
Stephen
Pearl. His name?
Stephen Pearl.
Oh, Stephen Pearl. Yeah, it is.
Stephen Pearl. Boy, it was so hard to hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get his computer back and working again.
Let's do a GoFundMe.
Yeah, do it.
I was just thinking, let's all throw $5 in towards a new computer.
Let's do a telethon for these people.
Well, one of those little PCs, those it can't be that expensive.
Chromebook, $200.
Yeah, something like that.
Him and Bubs.
Yeah, him and Bubs. Oh, Bubs. When Bubs does it, hell will have frozen over. Hey, thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Alan. Good having you here. Charlie, always good. Trucker Steve, hope you enjoyed the show tonight. John Larkin, a big thank you to you, and a big thanks to Brian as well. All of you, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give you a big wave goodbye back. There we go. There goes our citizen panel. They go off into the night. Some of them maybe we'll even go over with and see Jack next over most of the same GabNet. He's going to be doing his show, The Intersection, on Skype. You call GabNet Live. I will be back again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. And as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And please be safe out there and wear a damn mask. Good night.